Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Ambassadorial Wing. I am so glad y'all could be here tonight for the show, and to everybody who is starting to come into the chat room, to my moderator, Shea Stormdragon, mother of moderators, thank you again for being here as always. To Netcat, welcome. And tonight we're going to cover a topic that I think everybody will enjoy. Once, as everybody knows, we are going to be shut in for a little while, and in the spirit of that, we're going to start covering. This will be an ongoing series, at least for a little while. We're going to start covering lost gems from the Disney Vault, particularly those that you can find on Disney Plus. And with me this evening, I have got the Lord of Mischief himself, a man who needs no introduction, Stone Loki.
Greetings, programs! How's everybody doing out there? You know, I used to love to do that. When I started my channel, I used to say that every time. Greetings, programs! And there's a reason. Because Tron is one of the best movies ever. It is awesome, and I loved it at the end when he gets out of the helicopter and he's like, greetings, programs! So, yeah, best kind of stuff. Yes.
Amen, brother. Amen. I will wholeheartedly agree with you on that one. And we'll have one other joining us here shortly. Might have a couple more, but we'll go ahead and get started with these proceedings and get into the discussion. As always, make sure you smash that like button. Share this out with your friends, particularly if they are lovers of classic Disney, because tonight we're going to cover a couple of childhood favorites of mine and the Lord of Mischief himself. Tron, the 1982. The first one, and we're going to also cover another cool cult gem that I absolutely love to death, Flight of the Navigator. So, yeah. So, Loki, I'll open up the floor. Your thoughts on anything? We'll start with Tron, and then we'll segue into Flight of the Navigator. Your thoughts on Tron, just what do you love about it? What's great about it? Why is it one of those great movies that you can watch while you're cooped up indoors all day?
Before The Matrix, before Ready Player One, before any movie that's like, oh, we're going to put you into the game, before Jumanji, before all of that, there was Tron.
Yes.
And why was Tron awesome? Because you were in the arcade, you were in the system, Dillinger, the MCP, dude. But it wasn't just the visuals; it was all of it, man. And the fact that when you got down to it, it was a power game between Flynn and Dillinger. Dillinger stole Flynn's IP. He stole his programs. He stole his ideas, took credit for everything, and then created the MCP. And, dude, if the MCP had done what it wanted to do, you would have had a total Terminator type situation.
Oh, yeah.
That it wanted to take over the world. And there are people that were like, well, I don't get what the MCP is and all that. Well, the MCP is Skynet. It is learning and it is absorbing and it is taking over everything. It wants to get into the defense industry, and it gives you little snippets of that throughout the movie, you know. And there's so many levels of Tron. As a kid, you're like, yeah, light cycles, wah, wah, or the tanks, or the games. But as you get older, that movie grows with you and you start to see more and more. Yes.
And to the chat, to a couple of old friends haven't seen in a while. Well, one I just saw on Monday. Adega Outlaw, Adega, my friend, welcome. And here's the third of our trio of miscreants. The nobody, who is by far a nobody geek, aka Jesse. Jesse, thank you for being here tonight. Glad you could join us.
Hey, am I coming in better now?
You are coming in crystal clear, my friend.
Hey, IP 101. Restart the computer.
I understand. And to the chat, also an old friend of the channel, haven't seen in a while. Just another nerd. Good to see you, old friend. Hey, nerd, if you want in, send me a DM on Twitter. I will send you a link, and we'll have an old school reunion here because it's been a while since I've gotten to stream with the nerd, and I'm glad he's here. So
yeah, I've been watching his videos.
Yeah,
good guy.
He's a
Informative,
good,
and he analyzes everything, man. I
does.
love
He
it.
really does. So, but yeah, Jess, we were just getting started. Obviously, we're going to start with Tron, and then we'll work our way over to Flight of the Navigator. What stuck out to you about the first Tron with Jeff Bridges and
Bruce Boxleitner,
Bruce
the future
Boxleitner.
Babylon 5 guy.
John Sheridan.
Yeah. Oh, what stood out about that movie? Probably the first time I ever saw. CGI.
Yeah.
I'm fairly confident. I'm fairly certain I saw that movie before I saw The Last Starfighter. And you can understand why those two movies. You understand why those two movies would stand out at that time. Whereas, yes, everybody remembers E.T. came out. Those other movies, they were all
phone home.
Yeah, but they all
I'll
were practical.
be right here.
But they were all, done by practical effects. And you saw that link I sent you, Loki. I don't know if you know this. Did you know that the reason why Tron wouldn't get a nomination for the Oscars is because they considered their CGI cheating for special effects?
Seriously?
You're kidding.
Oh, you didn't see that? I sent it to you. You didn't see it?
I watched it, but I still can't believe they would do anything that cruddy. I mean,
they did. They said no. They said it was a cheat. They didn't figure computer graphics as special effects. They thought it was cheating. Now, could you imagine how that would work now?
Yeah, because now computer animation has its own thing. It has its own category, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but I mean, it when it came to that movie, what stood out about it? The damn discs and the bikes. Yeah, I'm sorry. Hey, I was the bike guy. I was like, and I'm a guy. I drive a truck. I will never get a motorcycle. I am terrified of riding on two wheels. I want a roll cage around me. So I'm chicken shit. So I kind of live vicariously through other people sometimes. But that was such a cool concept, and it wasn't practical effects. It was CG. It was CGI, and we had never seen anything like that before, and it blew our minds. And I love Last Starfighter, but let's be honest, the graphics don't really hold up. I would say Tron's graphics do hold up, though.
I would agree with that. I mean, I love Last Starfighter. You've just given me an idea for another movie to review. Thank you. But yeah, honestly, my earliest memories of Tron, I didn't see this in theaters because it came out in '82. I was just a few years old at the time, and this was one of Disney's earliest segues into like sci-fi live action because a few years before that, they had done The Black Hole, which I love. I love that movie. I know some people say,
what's it called?
The Black Hole.
I'll have to look that up. I've never even seen it.
You've never seen The Black Hole, brother?
Hey, have you ever seen Watcher in the Woods?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm gonna shut up.
I've seen. Yeah, it's creepy as all get out.
Okay, I will. Hey, I got Disney Plus. I'll see if it's on there.
It's on there. It's on there.
Okay, then. Okay.
All these.
Hey, you both know me on Twitter. DM me this and remind me.
I will. But yeah, all these movies I'm going to be talking about over the next few weeks or anything, because it looks like everybody's going to be locked down. We're going to be covering stuff from Disney Plus, like classic gems and everything. I take it. Sorry, Jesse. Adega nailed you. just a quick tidbit. The Simpsons are on Disney Plus as well. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. We're scum. We suck. Well, Jesse does, but not really. Yeah, honestly, the first time I saw Tron was actually, it was on TV. It was on the Disney Channel when the Disney Channel was still a thing.
Are we talking that free week?
No, we had Disney Plus. And just another nerd, I understand, my friend. There'll be more streams, and I look forward to working with you again, old friend. So, but yeah. You must resist. The goblin nerd must live. Thank you, and take it. That's a good one. But yeah, I saw this. No, it was on the Disney Channel when we had cable, and I saw this. I was like, "Dang, this is so cool!" And then when we finally got a VCR, I think it was in like '95 or something when we got our first VCR. No, it was '96, and Blockbuster was still in business.
Dude, Blockbuster.
When Blockbuster was still a thing.
Any millennials out there like, what's Blockbuster?
It's like Redbox, only better.
They used to be on every corner.
Dude, I miss just like floating through the video store and just like looking for something.
You want to hear a funny story? The
Sure.
Blockbuster in my hometown of Granite City, Illinois. It was off of Madison Avenue and Namioki. And this was a Blockbuster. I mean, it was right across the street from my school. So like on Tuesdays when new movies came out, you would have kids from the school rushing over to Blockbuster to get the newest releases. Mm-hmm. I kid you not. And then Blockbuster went out of business. And that little area was barren for like, I kid you not, at least a decade. And it just sat there. It was an empty lot. You'll never guess what's there now.
A Starbucks.
No, a family video store.
Nice.
Yeah. They are hanging on. I don't know how, but they are hanging on by their skin of their teeth. But I'm kind of glad they are.
That's
probably because they have a porn section.
Jess, why did you have to go there? Why?
Because I know human nature, and I know what sells. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying it's reality.
You godless heathens! I have to pray for your souls.
Name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know how many times I rented Tron on VHS and I got home from school, I watched Tron. Before I went to bed, I watched Tron. I was like, Tron. And my mom was like, why do you like this movie so much? I'm like, because it's 80s. Okay, whoever's breathing super hard, please stop because you're hurting my ears.
Not me.
I know, it's probably Jesse.
5 feet from my mic.
But I was like, it's 80s, it's video games, it's got a good cast, it's got David Warner, who's a great actor, he plays a great villain in Dillinger. Edward Dillinger. End of line. And even I know for the 2000s, for the standards for CGI effects are kind of high, but I don't care. The effects in this movie are stellar. Still stellar. Yeah, they might be for what they did at the time, they were stellar.
I'm sorry, but let's go with this. It was basically what it was our Matrix.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Our Matrix. I mean, the crap they pulled off in the Matrix blew everybody's mind. The crap they did in Tron blew everybody's mind. So I would say it was our Matrix. I mean,
I would agree. To
give a good reference to a point, it was our Matrix. It was something we had never seen before.
I gotta say though, as far as holding up, I can watch Tron, and completely believable. You see the ships, you see the light cycles, you see everything. It still holds up today. Go back and watch Reloaded. Go back and watch Matrix Reloaded. That fight scene with Smith looks like ass today.
No,
it looks terrible.
I don't acknowledge the anything
sequels.
The first Matrix. Yeah, I don't acknowledge the sequels.
But
him flying away like
horrible.
Superman is shit of how it just should have ended.
Yeah.
It's like E.T. Some movies don't need sequels.
I agree. Even though theoretically, before the world got shut down, they were in the process of shooting a fourth Matrix. I'm like, why?
Oh,
why?
Did you see any of that? Did you see any of that footage of Trinity flying off and leaving Neo on the street? She's the one flying off, and Neo's the one standing down on the street looking up, and he goes, "Whoa!" In the Keanu Reeves thing, the Keanu Reeves, whoa, he does that.
The Bill and Ted thing. I still can't believe they're one.
No, Bill and Ted is excellent.
No, they do that in Bill and Ted too. Keanu Reeves goes, "Whoa, whoa." And that's what he does in the new Matrix. He's like standing on the street. He looks like a bum. He's got all these ratty clothes on and this beanie. He looks up, and Trinity's flying away. And he looks up and he goes, "Whoa!"
Oh, please, please tell me they're gonna make the Matrix go woke. Please don't make the Matrix go woke. I actually like the Matrix. I like the original. The original was good. But yeah, getting back to Tron, this movie, for a lot of people in the industry, it inspired them to get into filmmaking. It inspired them to get into computer programming. It inspired them to get into game programming and game artistry and all this other stuff. And it was just such a, it was amazing how influential this movie was, not just for the audience, but for the people who worked on it or who were inspired by it as the audience. And to just another nerd, I like Tron Legacy myself. I loved Tron Legacy. I thought it was great. I wish they would go back and do a follow-up. Disney, give us Tron 3. We want it. We want something original. Even if it's a sequel, we want the story finished. We want this story finished. Finish the story. Finish the Tron story, please.
I really liked Flynn in 2. I think I liked Flynn more in 2 because he's like groovy, man. He's like still in the 80s, dude. He's still the Flynn.
Well, he's done
older.
You're messing with my mojo.
Yeah.
You're messing. No. You're messing with my Zen thing.
Yeah, my Zen thing.
I was like, is he supposed to be? Is he playing dude?
He's kind of like a techno hippie.
Yeah. A techno hippie.
Look, I didn't care for the movie, but I'm going to be honest because it did exactly what I thought it was going to do, and that's what upset me. I didn't like what they did to Tron. Every other character I was fine with, but they did exactly what I was afraid they were going to do to Tron. And now we're left hanging, and I'm like, I don't like that.
Well, if you think about it, Rinsler isn't really Tron. Yes, his base is there, but Clue changed him, so it's not really Tron. But it was more like Tron came back in the end to assert himself. But Rinsler wasn't really Tron. He was like the altered version of Tron.
Bodega.
Well, I can go with. You know what? I could at least go with. I could go with Tron going out like a badass, like he would have.
Yeah,
that I can go with because he would have been the type. I mean, Bruce Boxleitner for being as away from that character as long as he has. I felt like I was like when he was playing. I'm like, crap. He really remembered his character. I don't know if he watched.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love the show because I mean, let's go back to the movie though. Let's talk about how it starts out. You start out with, what is Jeff Bridges' character name? The user,
Flynn.
Kevin.
Flynn. Flynn. Thank you. Yeah, Kevin Flynn.
Well, username. Yeah. The program name was Clue.
Yeah,
Clue.
Clue was the character.
The first.
Yeah, and then he's in that tank, and they're trying to go around, and you're like, "What the heck am I doing?" And then you see him get digitized, and you're like, "Forget him, Master Control. You can make," and you're like, "What the heck just happened?" And I mean, this is a Disney movie.
Yeah, because this was, like I said, this was one of Disney's first forays into any type of science fiction up until this point, and well before the Black Hole, where they got real heavy into sci-fi. I think the most heavy sci-fi films that they had done were like The Cat from Outer Space and maybe Escape to or From Which Mountain. Those are about the Escape to Which
movie.
Yeah, both of those are on Disney Plus.
Yes, I know. I've been educated. I've been introducing my kids to these things. I actually dared my kids to watch Watcher in the Woods, and then they showed me up and watched it and didn't have any issue.
Yeah, well, and what I loved about one of the other things I loved about Tron, it was a very simplistic story. It was straightforward. You could follow it. It didn't have a lot of weaving in and out of things. But what I did love is how they segued from the digital world to the real world. And it was just with a simple title card. Meanwhile, in the real world, like, okay, what's real and what isn't? Because this is sort of semi-real because it's taking place sort of in real time, but it's a envisioning of a digital world, which nowadays we almost kind of live in. I mean, think about it.
Yeah, but back then the idea was unfathomable.
Yeah.
The idea of an internet, an interconnective system. I mean, that thing was basically Tron was basically talking about the internet.
Yep.
Yeah.
And getting through it, or an intranet. I mean, at the time it would, because you got to remember, I mean, most people may not realize, but there was an internet before the late 90s. It was just not commercial. It was not allowed for the private sector. And actually, we had to get laws passed in America to get it. And there were people trying to stop people from even having public internet access. They didn't see a point to it. But hey, and everything I'm saying is 100% true.
Yeah. But yeah, the other neat thing about this film is the fact that the story, I kind of want to get back. I want to get into the story a little bit, because you have a proxy villain, but then you have the real villain. And honestly, the real villain in this movie is the MCP. It's not Dillinger so much. Dillinger was just an opportunist who stole all of Kevin Flynn's game ideas and stole his programs. And as Flynn says, or Jeff Bridges says, the sleaze didn't even change the names, man.
Yeah, he was basically a figurehead and a puppet of the MCP.
Basically,
I mean, that's all he was.
I want him in the games until he dies playing. Yes, yes.
Okay, and I don't know who did the voice of the MCP, but bravo, whoever you are. Well, most likely, sir. Thank you for giving us a great villain. It might have been a one-off villain, but it was still a great villain. And there's actually
David Warner. David Warner is, because it's his program. All programs are based off of their user. It's David Warner's voice.
I'm not talking about Sark. Because Sark,
he plays the MCP too. It's his voice. It's just drowned out lower. It's digitally lower.
They just modulate. They just.
Yep.
Oh, no way!
It's his program. Yeah, it's on IMDb that David Warner did the voice for Master Control program and played Stark because he created both programs. All programs are based off of their creators.
Oh, he was uncredited. That's why.
Probably. It wouldn't surprise me.
I was looking on Wikipedia and it said he was uncredited as the MCP. So, but yeah, he was definitely the voice. But now that I think about it, that does make sense.
Yeah.
By the way, Loki, I love the Flash Ted thing going there.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
thank you. That's a leftover. We had a Flash watch party Saturday.
Yeah, I
That's one
heard
of the
about
things.
it. I heard it was
Yeah.
awesome. I'm
I'm
sorry.
actually.
I would have loved to have gone there. I love that movie.
Yes.
Well, I think Jess, at some point I'm going to do a watch party for something. I don't know what yet, but I'm going to do a watch party for something on here. And
Predator.
I'll consider it. I will very
Stick
strong.
around. Stick around.
I'll very
You think
strong.
I'm bad with the repeats and the quotes? I'll get me in a Predator movie and I'll quote the whole damn movie. That movie's just one big quote.
If
Not
it
to put
be-
in too many pencils.
I'm gonna have me some fun. Gonna have me some fun.
I don't got time to bleed.
Quit ghosting us.
Really?
Kill you real quiet.
Okay.
Leave you here. Got that?
Uh,
He's
guys,
like, all right.
I'll mute you. I'll mute you.
Oh.
He was the Dega dude, or not the Dega Shay. Wait a minute, no, it was the Dega. No, who was it? Oh, it was Nerd. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can imagine.
That movie was awesome.
Oh man,
I'm
was it?
sorry, Ambassador. We have a bad habit of hijacking you. We gotta stop.
No, because I always bring y'all back on track.
He'll mute you if you keep doing it. Trust me. I've been there. He's done that.
I did that on the fifth. If you remember, I did that on the Fifth Element stream. Would you believe that thing has hit almost 250 views?
Nice.
Nice.
Well, dude, I made sure to share that and send it to people, and because I was like, dude, you've got to listen to this. Just go to the 12-minute mark or whatever it was, hour and 12 minutes, and listen to me and Ambassador go at it. And he's muting me, and Adiga's laughing his ass off, like, no, don't do it, don't mute him.
Well, and the crazy thing is, all of my streams are starting to get more views, which I'm actually happy about. People are enjoying what I'm talking about, so I'm happy. And it seems like my streams, as they say in the media, have legs. So
Yeah.
it's, but getting back on track here. Enough self-aggrandizement, whatever you want to say it. Between my own horn.
Ambassador's sitting there going, I love it when a plan comes together. Excellent. Release the hounds.
Smithers.
Okay, guys.
Oh, crap.
But yeah, back on Tron. The other thing about this is I love the interactions between Flynn and Bruce Boxleitner's character's name. I can't think of this. Alan 1. That's his code name or anything.
Okay, Alan or Tron?
No, I think Flynn was, I thought, called Alan 1, right? Or
No,
No. Flynn, no, Jesse, just the Garrett ducks all in a row. Jeff Bridges plays Kevin Flynn, aka Clue. Bruce Boxleitner plays Alan, aka Tron. The other girl, I feel horrible. I don't remember the girl's name. People are going to think I'm some sort of horrible misogynist. It's because she doesn't.
Laura Bangs, Yori and Laura.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yori
of course
is the Tron version. Laura is the real world version.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Yori and Lori. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you've got David Warner as Dillinger, a.k.a. Sark. AKA
who played the
old guy?
The old guy.
Dumont. Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. I was so busy this afternoon, I didn't get a whole chance to do research or anything on everybody that was in the thing.
Bernard Hughes. Bernard Hughes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Bernard Hughes.
He was an interesting for a secondary character. I thought he chewed up all the scenes he was in.
I agree. Yeah.
And a little known fact: Michael Dudikoff played one of Stark's guards, and that's the guy who did. Sark. Sorry,
Michael Dudikoff, the guy in American Ninja.
Yes, the guy in American Ninja played one of the guards, one of Sark's guards, the guys with the poles. The
Oh,
pissed
yeah,
off guys. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Well, I
What
know,
about
I know what you're talking.
what did you think? What did you guys think of the use of the colors? You had the blue, the red, and I think at a little bit of a point, kind of a maybe a yellow and a lighter blue going on, or kind of a hue green in the characters' lighting. What'd you guys think of their choice of going that route? I thought it was actually pretty interesting, and then even the choice of colors for the light cycles, and even the choice for the little tanks, and then after that we got to talk about the bite.
Classic white hat, black hat. Sorry, go ahead, brother. I was just classic
No.
white hat, black hat. Just different colors.
Honestly, I like the choice of different color tones for the different characters. I think it made it easier for you to kind of transition from who's to who and everything. Blue was your protagonist, red and other colors were your antagonists. So I think, oh, Dave Bob's here. Dave Bob, welcome, sir. Glad you could tune in tonight, sir.
Welcome, brother.
Well, if he's saying too many live streams, he picked the right one to come to.
Yeah, he hit that little red button on the bottom of the gun.
Don't get us started on that.
Killer. Because
any respectable mercenary. Any respectable mercenary.
For?
Yeah, I would ask what that little red button on the bottom of the gun.
Good. Yep. But yeah, honestly, I approve. I liked the color scheme for the whole movie. Interesting thing about this, and you both might know this, but the chat may not, and those that watch us on the replay may not. They actually sent all of the film cells over to a company, I think it was in Korea, to have them painted, because there wasn't a way for them to do the color transfer, because everything was shot in black and white when it was all of the digital stuff. But here's the problem. If I remember correctly, and folks, do not quote me on this, I'm doing my best to recall this off the top of my head. When they got all of the cells back for all the stuff that was painted, somehow or way or another, it got screwed up, and they had to end up doing it at a company here in the States, and the company in the States got it right. Wow. And that's not me. That's not me throwing shade at the people of South Korea. Far from it, or anything. But yeah, that was just.
Another interesting thing is, do you know they got all those CGI components done for the movie in 7 months?
Yeah, I do recall them. I do remember.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking 1982, and they got them done in 7 months. I mean,
well, because they were working right up to the end of the production and everything to get everything put together.
Okay, did you go to the arcade and play the video game though? Because I blew a ton of quarters on that game.
I never had an opportunity. Because unfortunately, like I said, I was young. I was too young and everything. Because this came out in '82, I was born in '78, so I wasn't old enough to go to an arcade yet.
No, but I mean, you didn't find it in an arcade in the late '80s, early '90s. We still had them.
Unfortunately, no. Man. For some dumb reason, it didn't circulate to my area. I don't know why, but it just didn't. And, Jess, you bring up a good point and everything. This was a great image for people who didn't grow up in the 80s or didn't grow up in arcade culture. This is a great snapshot for arcade culture in the 1980s, not to mention all the video games and even pinball machines that were still popular and are actually making somewhat of a comeback now.
Yeah.
This is a great snapshot of arcade culture. And it just gives you an image of just how bright and flashy and just immersive when you walked into that arcade and you heard the pop music coming over the jukebox, or you heard the sound effects. It was just a cacophony of sound.
Or the sound of a quarter going into the machine.
Quarter, and
people having quarters lined up saying, hey, that's my quarter, I'm next.
Yep.
You had to line your quarter. And you know, for people who didn't grow up in that culture, what it was they just have to understand.
Mhm.
We didn't have those kind of video games. They have to understand that at that time you had Atari was at
Mhm.
the tail end of its life. Nintendo was pretty much it for the most of the 80s. And
Mhm.
Sega, well, let's be honest, Sega screwed themselves in a few ways. We won't even get into that one. But the arcade was the place where you could play not just you could find any video game you wanted. You'd find games you couldn't get. You couldn't get Mortal
Mhm.
Kombat on a console back then, or
No, no,
maybe
not
Street
yet.
Fighter 2. They didn't have them. You had to go to the arcade to play these games, and
Mhm.
you would wait in line to play a video game. I mean, I'm telling you, it was crazy, and you'd meet a lot of people. Some of us went on our dates there
Yeah. I mean, when I was coming up,
after a movie.
yeah, and that's one of the last bastions for arcade games of any kind and everything is movie theaters. Now, where I live, and I'm hoping that the business isn't affected. Arcades are actually starting to make a comeback, particularly in malls, because say what you want about the shopping mall and everything. Even now, I'm 40 years old. I'll still go to the mall to certain stores and everything because that's the only place you can find these stores unless you just want to go online. And there's just something more. It's more of an experience to go to a store and find that item that you're looking for.
Yeah, it's the
And
same thing when I want to go to a bookstore.
mhm,
You know, I remember when I was a really early teenager and everybody started going on dates. You know, everybody's going on dates for the first date. Everybody took their date to this place called NASCAR, and what it was
mhm,
it was a kick-ass go-kart track with a
mhm,
huge arcade. And that was pretty
Mm,
much everybody lined up for their first date. Everybody went to NASCAR for their first date. And that was like the big thing back then was
mhm,
go and play the arcade and go-kart racing.
mhm.
in my hometown, it was you had our Dollar Theater, you had our skating ring, and you had our arcade and our Blockbuster, and those were your four basic places to go hang out
Mhm.
safely,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah.
And I mean, we went through them, and I mean, the arcade was my. If I wasn't hanging out with my buddies at their place, I was at the arcade on the weekend, hands down, playing every '80s video game. I mean, Miss Pac-Man was, and you know, Centipede and Galaga. Those were my
Mhm.
games. I was.
Yeah,
I didn't care about the new games except for unless it was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game. Then I was all over it.
yeah. And interesting that you bring up Miss Pac-Man. I don't know if you all recall it. There's one scene there on Sark's carrier, his command ship, where you've got that wall behind him and it's got that display, and you actually see a little digitized Pac-Man chomping down on dots.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look for that. I don't recall hearing about that.
Yeah.
It's the screen with the map on it, and he's talking. I
Hmm.
think he's talking to the NPC, and
Oh,
you
I
see
think
the
I've heard
Pac-Man.
about that. You know what? I'll YouTube it later. I'm not even gonna need. I don't. You know, that's the great thing about technology. I don't even have to try and find it. I can just YouTube this.
And to everybody coming back in, that's Cat. Glad you could make it back. And Netcat and everything, and to one of my wonderful mods and a good friend of the channel, Katia Star. Good evening, ma'am. Katia, if you want to come on, if you can't, it's fine. I put a link to the chat or link to the stream in the chat on Twitter. So if you want to come in, you can and everything. If you don't, if you just want to lurk, all good. So, but yeah,
You know, I thought it was interesting when you think of when Tron finds out Flynn is a user, and you know
yeah.
he kind of takes a casual approach to realizing he's meeting a god, for lack of a better term.
Hmm.
I mean, as best you could think, a god, maybe an angel in this sense. And then when he says, "Yeah," it kind of works the same phrase. He's like stranger and straight, and it went with his character. His character always seemed to take things in stride. He
Well,
just kind of was like, Yeah, go ahead.
No, finish, please. I didn't want to interrupt you.
I was just saying, Tron had an interesting, and I didn't even think about it until we were, going. He just kind of he took things in stride. He had a desire to do things, but he just kind of flowed with the situation. He never seemed to get stressed or upset about a lot of things. He just kind of seemed to just flow through it, for lack of a better term.
Tron was designed by Alan to completely understand the system and to know everything about everything. He was designed as a watchdog program.
Yeah, exactly.
To cover everything. So in a way, Tron knows about Alan. Tron knows Alan exists. Tron gets his directives directly from Alan. Where the other programs, that one guy that you see at the beginning, he's like, man, I manage a bank, dude. What does the MCP have a problem with me for, man? I'm like a teller program, dude.
Yeah.
And they're trying to convince the programs that the users don't exist. But Tron knows, because Tron was designed to know everything about the system.
Yeah, Tron, I fight for the users.
I fight for the users.
And to the chat, to those coming in and everything, to Kathia Star, I didn't get a really chance to say hi. Hello, dear. Good to see you. I probably did. I'm probably repeating myself, but to 2Med2,
greetings,
Star Wars
programs.
Network, welcome, sir. Yeah, welcome. Glad you could join in tonight. Hope you enjoy the stream and everything for however long you can be here. I appreciate everybody coming in. And Kathia, I added you into the Ambassadorial Wing chat room on Twitter. Everything, you should be able to find it under your messages and everything. Just go in there, and I put the link in there, so it should pop up on your messages. If you can't find it, I'll shoot you a link, no problem. So
that's the interesting thing about Clue and Tron. Clue is Flynn's program, and he knows what's up because Flynn designed him to know. Tron knows the same thing. The only difference is the MCP annihilated Clue, and the MCP doesn't want Tron anywhere near him because Tron was designed to fight shit like him.
Yeah. Well, and
body.
Yeah. The interesting thing is I found that moment very intriguing. With when Flynn reveals his true identity, that the fact that he is a user, he is not a program. And Tron's like, well, then everything you've done has probably been according to a plan. And Flynn's like, nope, I've been flying quite literally by the seat of my pants this whole time. And so it was just,
well, I think that's directly from working with Alan. Because Alan is so focused and so dedicated, and Flynn's so chaotic and so like net ranger. They're two different sides of the same coin. They both know the system. They both know programs, but Flynn's like a keyboard cowboy, and Alan is like a dedicated user.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually mentioned that.
Yeah, because it does kind of get into this whole idea of it almost seems like there's a sort of a belief system in the
Ambassador. If she wasn't added until after you sent that link, she won't be able to see the link.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to her. I've got her up here. Just give me 2 seconds, fellas. This doesn't take long, thankfully.
Yeah, the movie was just from the story perspective, actually, an Ambassador, as you've heard me say, I know where I was when I saw this movie, my grandmother's basement, which you've heard me say a lot of times, and saw it on VHS, and it was just, like I said, it was just this movie that had those strange, I mean, you watch the first part of the movie, you don't think, I'm thinking it's a video game, and I was like, oh, cool. And then the whole digital, then it's like a freaking, what do you want to call it? Like literally like an acid trip goes on, and you're like, my little mind, it like 9 years old, say 1989 or something, was like, whoa.
Yeah. The other, as I was starting to say, it's almost like for the programs, there's a sort of belief system amongst them and everything. And you're thinking, this is kind of a deep dive on the ideas of a belief system, or I don't want to say organized. I want to say organized belief system. I don't want to say an organized religion. Far from it. I don't want to say that because that's not a proper metaphor here. But for the programs, the one program there at the beginning, he says, "Well, yeah, a user wrote me. If I don't have a user, then why am I even here?" And that honestly is an intriguing concept if you think about it. I mean, for us as kids and everything, growing up in the 80s and the 90s, watching this movie, it didn't really dawn on us. But now, several decades removed, yes, Dave Bob, she was and everything, and Dave Bob is like, Dave Bob brings up a kind of
yes,
you are not toxic. You are not toxic, and yeah, Jeff Bridges and Brooks Spotlighter, they were great in this movie. They really, really were. And here she is. Hello, Kathia. Hello, Kathia. Howdy, howdy, howdy. How you doing, ma'am? Give her a minute to do her thing.
Sorry. How long? I don't know what the delay is.
That's okay.
Hey, Loki. Hey, Jesse. What's up?
How you doing?
Hail, hail. The gang's all here. So, we were just getting to another topic and everything in terms of Tron, and the thing that I brought up was kind of interesting. Is it almost seems like that the programs have some sort of a belief structure or whatever about their relationship with the users. What do you think about that?
Which one of us?
Kathia, or either one of you. I think there's a delay on her end.
I'm a lady.
Yeah, there's going to be so guys, there's going to be a delay on me because I have a satellite. That is my only connection to civilization. So there's a thing I can do about it. So yeah, there is going to be a delay. Okay. Now, as far as the almost religious point of the players and the users actually does make a little bit of sense if you can entertain this for just a moment. Okay,
sure.
Because I have discussed this in a couple of videos before, where it's my belief that it has a God counterpart. Okay. Again, this is a personal belief.
All beliefs
and they're basically what they are is archetypes out with a template, like Zeus, Merlin, Arthur, whatever the case may be. And then as people, we grow, basically we add to our character sheet. We spell character sheet as we move along through life, build okay. So that's so when you're this movie, I kind of introduces that users are gods in about as templates for the players because they are, as they're moving through their world. Well, nowadays we've got and I don't know, remember remember, that was along the same lines too, as far as the users having so much power, So it makes sense to a certain extent. I think that they're necessarily viewed as omnipotent, but omnipresent, and decisions together. And so in that sense, I think it's a really great thing to have in this, as far as like video games are concerned, because it does I think it's sorry, I really do think it's a good idea. I've visited more often in other video games that are like this. So that's my piece, and over.
And Kate, I can see your point of view. I can honestly, to an extent, I can agree with it and everything totally. Because go ahead, Jess.
So I was what what I was going to say is I can see a lot of where Kathy Starr is talking here, and as I've spent the last 20 years of my life pretty much working in the computer field. Now, I want to make something very clear. I'm not a programmer. I cannot build you a program. I can fix your computer. I'm the guy who came and fixed everything that was wrong with your stuff, or fix the problems you did because you were an idiot, which was usually the latter. That being said, some of the ways you made it about the characters, Kathy Starr, was the archetypes and the god aspect. And I was like, as someone who was also, I was a big video game guy, but I was heavy into the pen and paper RPG of the day. And you bring up an interesting thing. When you create a program, they were creating these characters. They gave them certain strengths, certain weaknesses, certain aspects and attributes. And guys like the MCP was an NPC. Obviously, you wouldn't be him, and some of the other folks in there. But it was an interesting concept because you think of it as you're the god of that character, because in a pen and paper, because as you progress with the character, you choose how the character progresses. You choose where that character goes. And it's the same thing in a sense with the program. So in a way, they do what they're told to do by their player, their god, even though neither one of them really realizes it. Does that kind of jive together? That's kind of my role-playing geek sci-fi IT guy trying to mash that all together.
Jess brings up working on hardware. I'm going to tell you something about software, and they thought about this in both movies, in Tron and in Tron Legacy.
Yeah,
I cannot tell you how many hours analyzing line of code in Linux, in DOS, in Windows. I was part of the modding community at BC Files for like 10 years. I have gone over and over and over gaming code. And one thing I will tell you.
You're still sane.
Yeah, and I'm still sane. Yes. One thing I can tell you, programs do not make mistakes. Humans make mistakes. If a program makes a mistake, it's because a human designed that program with an inherent flaw.
Exactly.
And that's something people have heard before, but that is something that holds true to both movies. The reason why the MCP went on its insane spree is because Dillinger created it. And it lied. It lied directly to Dillinger. It said, I am not, you did not create me. I am the creation of many different programs. It lied. It lied directly to its creator. The reason why Clue flips out and goes off on Tron and Flynn in Tron Legacy is because Flynn designed him wrong.
You
He
know,
designed him to protect that system, not to protect the invaders, not to protect anything new, but to create its ideal system, not Flynn's ideal system.
damn it, Loki. Now I'm gonna have to rewatch that on Disney Plus because you have just given me a reason to legitimately rethink and rewatch that movie now. Damn it!
Yeah.
It's all
I
the
hate
humans'
geeks.
fault.
Why can't I be
Okay,
why can't I
so
be one of those
two
people
words.
who just
2 words. John.
Yeah, I
yeah,
am
short
alive.
circuit? Is
Mhm.
that alive?
Oh,
No disassemble.
No, this is but number 5.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because you want to talk about an argument for creating artificial sentient life. Short Circuit's a good one. And you know, I know some people don't like the Short Circuit movies. I love
They're
them
wrong.
both. They're not wrong. They just have their own opinion.
And they're wrong.
Jesse?
Thank you, Netcat. Thank you. It's just one of those things. When you look at it, everything wrong with this system is because of the human beings. The system is not inherently flawed. It's the flaws that the human beings bring into the system that screw everything up.
Okay, Loki will understand what I'm about to say here. When I had to play in a Cisco system and I had to go by regular text-based code, you know what? You know how I knew I did something right? The computer didn't tell me I screwed up. Because no, you got to understand something. It'll tell you you did it right. But all it'll tell you is you entered the code, you entered the command right. If you screwed up the command, it's not the Cisco router's fault that I screwed up the command and shut down the wrong IP. And Loki, I think, knows exactly what I'm
Grand
talking
scheme of
about there.
things, are we considered chaos theory?
No, we are the chaos. We are the organized chaos.
Oh, I would have to say that
we are organized chaos. You got to understand. Look at it this way, and I know it's a joke going around right now on everything with that whole thing for the Joker talking about society only being as good as the people or as the government allows it. But I'm sorry to say that is true. The human condition is always and always going to be survival. And The Expanse, if anybody's ever seen that, if you've read the books, there's a point in there where Amos points out when society collapses, you go tribal. You take care of yours and your own. And unfortunately, that's a human condition. And it was put into the program of the MCP. The human condition was his greed and lust for power. And I was saying this earlier is greed does not mean just money. Greed could mean influence, powers beyond just the physical realm. So his greed was influenced, programmed into the MCP. So in a sense, yes, his flaw was, and I agree with Loki, the human condition and the human fault, not the MCP.
But here's the thing. With the MCP, this is almost the ultimate expression of human greed and arrogance and that thirst for power and knowledge and just wanting to have it all.
That came from Dillinger. That came from Dillinger.
It did, but I want to make an argument for something. I think the MCP was an early iteration for the idea of artificial intelligence.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree.
Hey, think about this. Think of this MCP and Dillinger like Moriarty and Data in TNG.
I know. Yes. Create a program that can defeat Data, not defeat Holmes. And it's all Geordi's fault.
And Dillinger creates a program capable of being better than him.
But
better than any human mind. Think about it.
Yeah.
But he used Flynn's code. See, that's the
Exactly.
thing here. He used Flynn's code to create the MCP. Everything Dillinger did, he stole from Flynn
Because he was a hack.
because he was
In
a hack.
some-
No,
In some ways, I
right. No, because you know why? There, Ready Player One is that
Yes.
you had this
God, what a
greed,
great book.
and then in Ready Player One, you had this of that it was supposed to be just a good game. I mean, when you think about it like that, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now that you brought that up, I have to ask: have you guys read the book and seen the movie, or just seen the movie?
Both.
Both.
honestly neither.
You've seen neither. Kathy Star, what have you?
Movie, but not book.
Okay, I'm gonna say this, Ambassador. Read that book before you go see the movie. Kathy
Okay.
Star, go read that book. If you like that movie, you're gonna love that book. And
Well,
Loki,
Spielberg.
I think Loki would agree since he
Like the
said he's
movie.
done. He's like me. Then you'll love the book. I'm telling you, the book is so. Loki, you're so much more eloquent at this. Explain to her why the book is so much better.
Because books are always better. Books
Okay,
are
well,
always better.
besides that,
Every time I open a book,
You
I
don't
see
have to
everything.
explain
My
to
own
me.
little movie theater.
No, but I mean, it is a very good book. The way it opens in the book, and the story of how they get the keys is so much well told. I'll put it this way: my wife was in Turkey. She bought the book, so I downloaded the book off of Amazon. I said, okay, we'll read 5 chapters. I called her 2 hours later, said, where you at? I said, I'm keep going. By the end of the weekend, we finished the entire 500-page book, and we're doing nothing but talking about it. And my wife's not a huge sci-fi fan. So anyway, we better get back on topic before
Ambassador
an audiobook.
No. Yeah, fun fact and everything. Thank you, Netcat, for sharing that. Well, we did the audio version of Ready Player One.
Oh,
So,
awesome. It's a great, hey, listen to an audio. It is a great book. It is a fantastic book.
yeah. Well, and honestly, I think Dave Bob, you make some good points, sir. Thank you. And by the way, Dave Bob, I love your avatar, sir. Love it. Well, I say
hold on. I say, hold on here.
Hold on here, son.
Chicken or Snooky, it's gonna look good in our oven.
Well, guys, we've spent about an hour on Tron and everything, and I think we've had a good discussion. Why don't we move on to Fly the Navigator and just dig into this one a little bit? Everything. So, everybody good with that? Katie, I know you came on. Is there any final comments you wanted to make about Tron before we move on to Fly the Navigator?
Yes, I would like to say, very good movie. I like the reboot.
Well, technically it's a sequel, not a reboot, but okay. All points are valid here. So, all right. Sorry, Katie, I wasn't trying to do a one-up spin on you or anything. It's technically a sequel, not a reboot. But if you didn't like the sequel, that's okay. That's perfectly okay.
Sequels.
I did not like the sequel. I like Jeff Bridges. Okay, I like it's just
Hey, I didn't like the sequel either, so we're all fair game here.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion here. Nobody's going to call you an istrophobe or an idiot.
Compliance.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Loki. I can't do that.
Let's get into Fly the Navigator.
I love this movie.
I love this movie so much. I mean, so much. Every time it was on TV, like I said, when we had Disney Channel, old school Disney Channel, not Disney Plus and not whatever. It was just Disney Channel. every time this movie was on, I was like, yes, the crazy alien, the crazy ship. I love this movie.
Yes. Wasn't this one of the last movies they did for the Wonderful World of Disney on ABC?
Yes,
a long time ago.
I think
Y'all remember
so.
that?
Yes,
It might
I
have
remember
been.
the
I think it was
Wonderful World
one
of Disney, and I think
the
you're
last
about
ones
right.
they did.
Yeah, this was like 1986 when this thing came out.
I
Yeah,
think-
this.
Hold on.
Oh, this was it was so great. Disney Plus. I wasn't gonna get it, and my daughter brought it up, and I'm a very strong, sophisticated man and father, so of course I did what my daughter wanted. Because of course. And then I did not, and then my wife and I were going through it, and we saw all these classic movies, and we were like, holy crap. And we actually pulled up Flight of the Navigator for my kids, and we all sat down. Well, my kids loved it, and I'm like, my kids have no idea who Pee Wee Herman is, and I'm like, oh, this is just too funny.
But
They're
here's the
laughing
thing,
at
he
him, and I'm
wasn't-
like, they just don't have the context I do.
But here's the thing: he wasn't credited
one of the
as P. He wasn't.
Things I did
He
with
was-
my Kiwis Playhouse. At least it's because I kept saying John that he said. What? Dang it! See, now I forgot. But wow. Okay, yeah, sure. Sorry.
Mecca
That's
la,
right.
mecca lecca low.
Hi,
Mecca lecca la, mecca hiney ho. God
Kids
dang,
were
I cannot
like, "What are you
believe I
saying,
still remember
Mom?"
that.
And I'm like,
Blasphemy! Watch it.
I cannot believe I just remembered that.
Okay, I think Flight of the Navigator actually came out. I think it came out in 80. No, Tron came out in 82. When the heck did Flight of the Navigator come out?
86, I believe.
1986.
Was it
1986.
86? Okay. All right.
Yeah, it
I'll
was
take that.
1986, and it I mean, it really did a good. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that case. Yeah, my grandmother had it.
Yeah, this is Blu-ray.
That's it,
Yeah,
baby.
but I remember that case in VHS. I remember watching it in my grandmother's basement. Yeah, big surprise. That's just where they just assume most of those stories go there. And it was just a really good movie. I mean, it went from, but then there was that twist in it. It was like it went from being very, very serious to comical just on a whim. And it was like, what the heck just happened?
Well,
it's like I wanted to be like, this movie has warped my fragile little mind.
You're the inferior species, you dumb dork. Ha ha.
You want me to patty special shots of the cheese because I just
Sesame seed bun. And this, I think, was one of Sarah Jessica Parker's first starring roles.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
yes,
right.
yes, it
Her
was.
in the hair.
Yes, it was the horse space, indeed. It
Hey,
was.
hey. She looked okay in this, Loki. Now be nice.
Oh, I was just kidding. No, it wasn't. Ha!
Wasn't it not too long after that she did Hocus Pocus?
Hocus Pocus was 90s actually.
90.
Well, that's
Hocus Pocus was in the 90s. Yeah.
I was just saying that's like a Halloween tradition around my house.
Heck, first time
Believe
I
it
ever
or
heard
not-
of Twisted Sister was in this movie.
Twisted Sister, who's that? Who's she? Actually, it's a guy.
It's a
It's a him. Actually, it's a them.
It's a them. Yeah. Yeah, but
We're not gonna take it.
okay. But yeah, the great thing about this movie is actually it's a time travel story, and time travel stories are always interesting to me. At least I don't know how y'all feel, but it's sci-fi, it's 80s, it's time travel. Dang, there was a lot of good time travel movies in the 1980s.
Oh,
Who knew?
come on. It's about the ship. All about
Yeah,
the
it's all
ship.
about the
about
ship.
the ship. Hey, but let's
Rock,
Oh.
rock.
hey, let's put
Solid.
it this way though. You know what the great thing about time travel is?
Hmm?
You get to make up your own rules. There are
Yeah, kinda
no
like-
universal rules to time. We've got universal rules to horror movies, but there is no universal rule to time travel. You can just
Yeah.
make it up as you go.
And all because of some flowers.
You
He was
do
checking out some
not want to
daisies.
give me a TARDIS.
I told you I was looking at some
You don't-
daisies. Ha ha.
You sounds
You're
like you're
looking
the
at daisies
inferior
and you
species.
crash into a
Electrical
a-
tower.
electrical tower. Okay, and I'll
called
say
me a
this.
geek. You're not a geek.
Uh,
Oh, so you're the navigator now. So navigate. Oh, getting warmer. No. Sub-zero, freezing.
Freezing.
Scruffy to bridge. She won't take much more of this, Captain. You hockey puck, it's right under your nose. Yeah, I might have seen the movie a few hundred times.
But I will say I do like the young kid who plays the kid plays the boy and everything in the movie. What's his name? David Freeman. David Freeman
He has
played by.
dark hair and blue thing that ever walked the planet for the 6 months
Not to
that I
mention-
was obsessed with this movie.
Not to mention I dressed like him in the 1980s. I did. I dressed like this kid. And the funny thing is this movie. Well, the funny thing is this movie actually starts out in the late.
I didn't dress in shorts.
That Cloak and Dagger and E.T. This all goes back to Elliot. So that's what I
we're going
always
back there. We're gonna
equated.
blame everything on Elliot again. We're going back to the blame Elliot
Yeah.
conspiracy.
Oh, Elliot didn't
Yes,
do anything wrong.
we
He was
are.
just in a.
Oh, she
No,
brought up
he-
the cloak and dagger, and then she went to E.T. and Elliot. I'm like, oh, she's going there.
Well, I blame him because I think that's where I fell in love with dark hair and blue. That's just me though. I'm a fangirl.
There's nothing wrong with being a fangirl.
Hey,
Didn't he go to prison for robbing a bank?
I have no idea.
Joe
I've gotta
Kramer?
be honest with you. I
on
don't-
it. Give me just a second. I'm looking.
Oh, for him.
I'm going to be 100%
This is-
honest with you. I could care less about what happens to actors in their personal lives, except for Betty White. She's the only one I'm concerned about.
He
Betty
did.
White is going.
I knew
Betty
he did.
White. You know what? I'm just going to toss this out here, and people don't take this as fact or anything. This is just a joke. It is just a joke. Betty White contains the cure to the virus.
Oh shit. Oh, I heard.
Betty
Chuck
White
Norris.
is
I heard
like-
Chuck Norris.
that
got the
Betty
Mr.
White
virus.
is like
and
is
Chuck
like the
Norris put the virus
replacement
into
to,
quarantine.
oh, Chuck Norris has already killed
Yeah.
the virus. The virus just doesn't know it yet.
And to Speaker of the Dead, yes, and one of these days I am going to cover that movie. And if you want on that stream speaker, I'll send you a link. But one of these days I'm going to cover Explorers. Yes. I
We were
remember-
talking about Tron and Flight of the Navigator.
We were talking about Flight of the Navigator at this point.
Oh no! My wife was asking.
Oh, okay. We're talking about
Yeah.
Flight of the Navigator.
He got 2 years in prison and 2 years probation for robbing a
Okay.
bank. Oh,
Okay, fine. He did. Look, get back to happier things. Let's talk about the movie. You know, I know some
I
people
love
may say
Bruiser. Who didn't love Bruiser? The dog.
Yeah, the dog.
the dog.
Yeah, because the opening to this movie, they're at a dog frisbee catching
show.
contest.
Which were a thing, people. If you didn't know this, we used
Well,
to do
especially
these-
if they were especially a thing in Florida in the 1970s, because this movie actually starts in the late 1970s.
they were
if I
also
remember
big in
correctly.
the 80s because I lived in Florida in
Yeah.
the 80s.
I only visited Florida on a couple of occasions.
Jacksonville,
What-
man.
Do you remember the mountain of Transformers they had for him at NASA? It's like his bed was
I
covered
know.
in Transformers, dude.
I know, dude. And again, this is like a snapshot of the 1980s when the kid turns on the TV and it's got that music video and the guys take a roasted turkey and throw it at a wall or something. And,
Yeah.
and he asks the girl,
What's
Sarah Jessica-
MTV? What's MTV?
You've never heard of it. Oh, think about this. Remember the beginning when it was like, Mom, can I go hang out at my friend's house? Look at how far away they were from their kids.
I know.
He just dropped his kid off in the middle of the place. They were going through his. Now, look, here's the thing. I did the exact same crap these kids did. That's
A lot
what's
of us
so
did.
interesting about it. But now you look at it now, people won't let their heck. I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't let my kids do what my kids would not be allowed to do what I was allowed to get away with.
Dude, okay. For a minute, imagine a 16-year-old Loki, long black trench coat, black combat boots, all in black, walking through. We had these concrete
Jesus
ditches.
Christ, dude! You just described me at 16.
Jesse.
We had
Oh,
these,
sorry.
we had these
My bad,
concrete
my bad.
ditches that ran through behind the neighborhoods. Imagine traveling those. Like with my friends, that's the way we got everywhere. That's the way we navigated everywhere. We knew where all the ditches went.
Yep.
So we would just walk those ditches wherever we needed to go and come out of them next to a neighborhood, to another close friend's house or whatever. You can't do that today. No parent would let their kid do that today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in my hometown, nobody walked down the main streets. We all walked down the back alleys.
Yeah.
To avoid the cops, because we wanted to, avoid the cops.
Yep.
And, things like, you wouldn't let your kids, I mean, crap, I wouldn't let my kids do that now. It's just, but it was just, one of those things when you watch it then, and when the movie came out, yes, the beginning of it, as you said, Ambassador, takes place in the 70s, but it's taken place 8 years later.
Something like that. Yeah, that sounds about right.
8 years later, and so it took place in the mid '80s, and us growing up in the mid '80s. Well, I know you and me grew up roughly the same time frame. I don't know how Loki is, and I don't ask a woman her age because I know better. But that was, watching that movie and seeing those kind of things was totally normal for us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I used to ride my bike down the back alley of a place that was, if I missed my bike turn just a little bit, I went off a cliff. Rode it 100 times, never gave it a thought.
Well, they explain the time travel thing because of the theory of the speed of light. The ship took Davy to its home planet and came back. And while that may have been a couple of hours for Davy, it was 8 years for everybody else.
Yeah, I think they said it took 2.2 hours to get there, and then 2.2 hours to get back, so 4.4 hours.
Roughly, yeah.
And then he aged 8, and then everybody aged 8 years because of the light speed. But like I said, that's the great thing about time travel. You can just make up your own damn rules, or pull somebody else's rules, or steal from anybody else.
And he was gonna take him back. He was gonna take him back to his own time. He just got distracted smelling flowers and ran into an electrical tower.
No. Remember, he couldn't take him back because his body was potentially.
He was worried that his
dangerous.
body. The ship Max was worried that David's body wouldn't survive the trip back in time. Another interesting thing about this film that I liked, it actually gives you a little bit of a snapshot into the world of NASA. And honestly, I love that part of this movie because I was a space geek, still kind of to a point and everything. One of my dreams when I was a kid was I always dreamed of being an astronaut. But unfortunately, you had to be really super good at science and really super good at math. I was really good at science, but it wasn't so good at math, unfortunately. So this and the movie Space Camp and everything were and later movies like Armageddon and whatever were my picture or my snapshot into the whole world of NASA and space travel. So, but yeah, this honestly, this kid grew up in a home very similar speaking, had loving parents. Unfortunately, I didn't have any siblings, but I had a lot of neighborhood friends and everything who I kind of bickered back and forth with like siblings. And this movie just, it's like a big warm blanket that you just wrap yourself up in, and you just you get nostalgic, and you're like, I miss how simple the world was when I watched this movie. And that's one of the great things about this movie is it is so nostalgic. Yes, it's very campy, it's very cheesy, but at the same time, it's so endearing and it allows you to relive your childhood. And I think that's something great. And it's something to share with your kids if you have kids, or even with your grandkids if you have grandkids.
I think oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
You want to know something weird? I this is weird. I can't explain this. Always associate theater with Fraggle. You don't know why. Isn't that bizarre?
Look at the special effects of some of the characters. I could see why you would think that.
Yeah, look what Speaker just threw in there. That little alien buddy.
Yeah.
That he's got that whole wall of aliens in his ship.
Yeah.
That are like Muppets.
I was actually going to touch on that too.
Yeah.
So I could see why she would.
Oh my God, you're right. I totally forgot.
What I think is interesting is this is one of the first times you actually, and it does not get the credit it should, but if you think about it, it's 1986. This is one of the first movies to do a blend of CGI, which the entire ship, as I looked it up, the entire ship was done CGI and practical effects. Basically, those little Muppets. And I think of this, and now I start looking at this movie, and I think, this is like almost it's like this is what the guys from Farscape were thinking when they watched this movie. Or this movie was in their head when they came up with Farscape.
It's funny you bring that up because I was just thinking that how screwed up it was that NASA would not let the Farscape crew use NASA. They were called IASA. But a movie like this, they're like, oh, yeah, sure, throw NASA in there. Great. We'll even let you come out to our lab and blah, 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 blah.
And you're the bad guys.
Yeah.
So
and they're the bad
NASA was
guys
well funded in 1986. I mean, you know, and NASA's not even a shadow of what it used to be. Not really.
Unfortunately.
Sad.
You
would
have think they would have, though, so they could have used the money.
Well, yeah, I know, right? I mean, a bit of money for the right, but I used to be able to tell you between the you know, and when just that dream was a dead dream.
Well, hey, we
saying
grew up,
they were actually a real program. They're just do they do anybody?
Well, I'll tell you. My best friend growing up, my best friend Chris, who's come on my show in the mornings every once in a while, his mother has been the safety director for NASA in Clear Lake for the past 30 years.
Wow.
And this is straight from her. The biggest mistake NASA ever made was requiring degrees for people to go in space. You have to have a PhD to do a moon or to do a spacewalk and turn a wrench on a satellite. That is the biggest mistake they ever made. You shouldn't have to have a PhD to turn a wrench. You should have to have a technical degree to know how to work on a satellite, but you don't need a damn PhD to do a spacewalk. You don't need a PhD to learn how to, in the moon pools, to learn how to function in a spacesuit. All you need is the training and
become an underwater welder. You just get the extra certification.
That's right. You don't need a damn PhD and a science degree to go out and turn a wrench in space. And it's the biggest mistake NASA ever made. There are too many chefs and not enough Indians.
I would agree with that. Wholeheartedly.
Wow, okay.
Too many chefs.
So, yeah. And I know we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but the ship, the voice of the ship, Max, and done by all people, Paul Rubens. Paul freaking Rubens.
I didn't know it was Pee Wee until I heard him start talking like that, and then I was like, it had to be him.
Yeah, I know.
I knew it had to be him because, I mean, Pee Wee's Playhouse was on in the morning, so I was like, I'm not stupid at 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no one did that. No one did that lap beside him. You know,
No.
that was his thing. So
Tell them Large Marge sent you.
Marge.
Well,
Jeez.
and honestly, I love the back and forth between Max and David. I really do. I mean, it's almost like he's bickering with his younger brother. And kind of touching on another thing y'all brought up, the creatures there in the ship. And they're honestly so creative, and I think honestly they probably did bring Jim Henson. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't bring Jim Henson in to do the puppet work or design the puppets or design aliens for that part of the movie. Not to mention the giant eyeball that just goes.
It would be Frank Oz. It would have been.
I'm sorry, Katie. I didn't mean
doing that.
Would have been
It would have been Frank. If there was any kind of designer, if there was any kind of alien design puppetry going on, it would have been Frank and not necessarily.
Yeah,
Okay.
but wasn't Frank still in charge of? He was in charge of the studio still, right? The Hanson production.
Well, no, it depends upon which studio you're talking about. Because they had Fraggle Rock still. Okay, that's on. Okay. Then they still had also the Children's Television Workshop going on.
Oh my God, I forgot all about
had
that.
Something else. They had I think the Storyteller came out around the same time. You actually had a couple of like subsidiary productions. But as far as the sci-fi stuff is concerned, I would not even be shocked or surprised if it was Frank, because he's the one that had that interest in the sci-fi stuff.
So, yeah. Well, and the other thing, the other part of this movie is, I know again this is a very simplistic movie, but that's one of the charms of it, is the fact that you have Davy and his younger/older brother talking with one another when his younger brother's older than him, and at the end of the movie, you see the two of them reconcile, and I think that's just a very nice little character moment, because it's not a huge, complicated character arc for David Freeman, but in a manner of speaking, this whole experience helped him appreciate his family, and more so appreciate his little brother, and actually give him the backbone to finally maybe essentially go talk to that girl that he has a crush on, that he's looking at through the telescope in his bedroom. And
that's right, I forgot he was a pervert.
Oh, he is not a pervert. The girl was completely dressed. He was just scoping her out. She was right there.
No, I was.
He was being perfectly normal. If there was a girl that I didn't really get into like a girl.
Let's no, don't go there. Don't walk into that.
Don't walk into what? The fact I was going to say, when I was David's age, I didn't start liking girls until I was in junior high. Okay, wow, that's real. Oh my gosh, the ambassador didn't really like girls until junior high. Well, I didn't.
Okay, just
what? What, Jesse? What?
I didn't start
I don't
liking.
even think I want to. That's another story. That's another story entirely for another stream. We're not going to go there. We are not going to go there.
Okay,
I was messing with you, Ambassador, and I was like, I just don't want to say anything now.
So you were talking about the puppets and all that earlier. All the special effects were done by Jeff Kleiser, who's the brother of Randall Kleiser, the guy who directed the movie. He also directed Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Honey, I Blew Up the Kids, and all that. But he's the one that did all the special effects and puppeteer work and all that crap for the movie.
Now that's a
Okay.
movie to talk about too.
Oh
Honey, I
wow,
Shrunk the
that's
Kids.
interesting. So did he? Now I'm wondering if he did the alien on TNG, the ones that were played by Alexander. You remember? Do you remember that episode in Star Trek TNG where Alexander went in alien things? Because they looked very
Yeah.
similar to the Navigator.
Oh,
I
now
will
I
look.
remember.
I
Wasn't
will
it kind of
look.
like a tree-like thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
pick it.
I'm probably going to get some shade thrown at me for this, but I've never seen Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
No shade. There's shit, dude. I haven't seen Babylon 5 except for the first 2 episodes.
Hey, if you get it, I just saw
Heretic.
Young Frankenstein the other week. Remember?
I know. Well, I got some shade thrown at me from the Fifth Element stream where I had said I'd never seen Clue. I'm still trying to find a copy of that bloody movie.
What, Clue?
Amazon.
Yeah.
I told you. Amazon. Order it from Amazon.
I know, but I was trying to find it old school. I was trying to find it in a store. I didn't want to, so. But
Well, if you want to,
You don't have a video store in your area?
We do, but I want to own it. I'm weird.
Well, go up there, see if they have it, and ask them if you can buy it.
Yes, Jess, I know.
Well, I know we've got a
Wow,
place here that has it.
he's like, oh.
I know we have a place
I
here.
know
that
what
has
to
it,
do.
so.
Shut up, Jess.
If you want to order it from Amazon, order it from Amazon. If you want to actually pick it up at a store, I would. The only thing I could suggest is finding one of the resale shops.
That's what I was thinking of doing. I've been checking them and keeping an eye out. There's a couple in my hometown that I haven't tried yet. Just haven't had time, and it's going to be a little while before I can. So I may just bite the bullet and get it off Amazon, which is.
Hey, what's the name of that music movie place that's usually in a mall?
FYE.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm talking. Yeah, that.
Yeah,
I think that's what you guys were talking about. That'd be a place to probably have a shot at finding it that way.
What'd you say, Kathia?
I said the mall. Joke. I'm sorry.
What's a mall?
What's
a mall?
Oh no, it's okay. I just didn't catch what you said. That's all. So,
since I know you haven't seen Clue, I'm trying not to make any Clue jokes now.
It's okay. I've heard most of them, so don't feel bad. Well, guys, I think we've covered both these movies relatively well. We're right over an hour and a half and everything. I've been good. Do y'all have any closing thoughts on either one of these films? Or is there anything else you want to talk about in regards to these films?
I would have to say that sorry. Both of them are really, really good, very enjoyable, and both are, in a sense, they kind of stand the test of time because you can look at them as period pieces.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with you on that one. They are indeed period pieces, but they're from a period that we all can relate to and that we all love. So, and have a very fond appreciation for. So,
one gripe about the Flight of the Navigator movie, the phone home reference was just ridiculous.
I liked it. I thought
it was a cheap shot.
Yeah, it is, but at the same time, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't.
Hey, I just wanted to throw some negativity in there. I need to sprinkle a little negativity on your positivity.
You can't do that to me, Jess. I am an unabashed optimist.
He's an oak, folks. An oak. Can't shake that tree.
I get that reference. I get that reference, Loki.
I could actually believe that.
110%.
I could believe people would refer to you as an oak. I could believe it.
I stand corrected, Wyatt. You're an oak.
You're an oak.
I'm your huckleberry.
I know I've reviewed that movie. I almost feel like I need to do a watch party for that movie.
Do it, dude. Do it. I'm still trying to figure out what we're gonna do at the end of the month, but do it, dude. I know I've got that on my list, but I don't think I'm gonna do it yet.
Hey, Loki.
Why don't you guys?
Yes.
I'll be there.
No.
Get
I'll
to
be on
the
the channel.
chopper!
No. There's only one person in the world that can do that line.
Well, it ain't me.
No, it's the man who said it. Or a really good impersonator. A
Go!
professional.
Get to the chopper!
And it's not you either, Loki.
You've been pushing too many pencils.
You're one ugly
All right.
mother.
Fanboy.
I know, and I give them grief. Well, folks, I think we're going to wrap it up here, guys. If you want to stick around a few minutes after, we can shoot the bull and everything. But I hope y'all enjoyed this stream. I know I have. Just a couple of things for the channel. This Friday night, me and Miss Kathie are going to be doing a stream and everything. And it's been a topic that's been on both of our minds for a little while, and especially with everything that's going on in the world, I think it's something that does need some discussing. And we're going to have a free exchange of ideas. We're going to talk about the two things that you should never talk about in public or on stream, and that's religion. So,
Oh, snap.
I'm touching
and we'll try and infuse some humor in this discussion and everything. But this has been, like I said, this has been something me and Kathie have been tossing back and forth for a couple of weeks now, and we're gonna sit down this Friday night, and this will probably be also at 7:30. I think, folks, if y'all like this, I'm gonna start moving the ambassadorial wing, especially on Saturdays, and I will be doing this series and everything. Like I said, this is the first in a series of streams. We're going to talk about forgotten gems or cult classics from the Disney vaults and everything, especially while we're all stuck at home or partially stuck at home when we don't have to be at work if we're considered essential or whatever. So be sure and tune in next Wednesday night. I haven't decided on what I'm going to discuss yet, but I will obviously tweet it out and whatever. I do want to do another quick, a couple more things. This weekend on the Ambassadorial Wing, we're going to be talking Terminator 1 and Terminator 2.
Nice.
Because everything, and that also will be at 7:30 Central Time. So make sure and set your reminders. I will tweet this out. If you're on the Grey Order Discord, I will be tweeting that out. Also, in terms of Grey Order business, as the thing on the bottom of the screen has been going by, make sure you visit grayistheway.com. We're doing a fundraiser for the Chicago Police Department COVID-19 fundraiser. 100% of the proceeds go to that fund. So if you can afford to, do so. If you can only share it out, share it with your friends or anything, do so. And then, of course, I think that's everything on my end. Going on right now over on Fanjecture, he's actually having one of his Debate 8 streams, and he is actually debating, I forget who with, but go over there and show Adam at Fanjecture some love, show him some support, because he's a good egg. I've streamed with him a couple of times. He's debating the Renaissance movies of Disney. So go over there as this one's over and tell him the ambassador said hi. Tell him the ambassador said just said howdy, and hit that like button on his. And as always, folks, I greatly appreciate you all being here. To Loki, to Jesse, to Kathie, thank you all for joining me this evening. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know I did. So until next time, folks, this is the Ambassador signing off.